All right.
Um,
Perfect. We're recording. At least it says we are. All right. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Paranormal. We are your hosts. I'm Rachel, and we also have...
I'm Kaz.
Oh my gosh, another week is done. And
It's
November
ridiculous.
is half over already.
Yes, I
And-
know.
And when this
I know.
and when this one airs, it will probably be, so it'll be next Saturday. So this Saturday coming. I had to think about that for a few seconds. I'm like, wait a second. Because it'll be coming out a day early because we won't be here on Sunday.
Yeah,
We're
we'll
going
be
to
in a
be at the
special
Mystery-
location.
Yeah, like I don't even know where the hell we're still going, but
I know.
surprise, surprise. I don't know. I just know I have to cross a border.
Yeah, we'll figure it out once we get there. Maybe. If you never
Maybe.
hear from us again, we didn't make it.
We didn't make it back. Oh my
That's okay.
gosh. Oh my Lord.
But it's fitting because we're potentially going to a haunted hotel / Airbnb. And that's basically what we're talking about today. Segue.
Dun, dun, dun. We're spending the night at a haunted building. Not sure which building, but it's haunted. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, yeah. So this episode today is all about haunted hotels and inns and bed and breakfasts all across Canada. We'll have pretty much one for almost each province, and then we're going to be talking about a few from Ontario that we have been to. And yeah, so it's perfect if you're looking to plan like a spooky getaway or just want to know more about these haunted places in your province. So yeah, so super interesting. And I was like researching all of this, like the ones that I was doing, because I took the West Coast. And now I want to go on a road trip.
Oh my gosh.
Some of these places.
Some of the places I found, I was like, that's going to be my next girls trip.
It's like, it's crazy.
Beautiful.
We'll post like pictures on Instagram and Facebook after this airs, like, so you can see these places, because like, holy crap.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
So
I know.
crazy.
And unfortunately, as we'll get into, some of them don't talk about their hauntedness, which is really frustrating. So a couple of them I had to ixnay because I couldn't find out enough about them. But oh my gosh, they almost deserve an honorable mention just because they're friggin' stunning. So maybe we'll have like honorable, what word did I just say? Honorable mention? I don't know. Don't ask me what's in this.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The same crap.
They're the spirit.
Gosh. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, did you want to go first, or I could start with mine if you want?
East Coast, West Coast. What do you want to start with? Who's coming out? I don't know enough gangster rap stuff to know the ins and outs of the East Coast, West Coast stuff. So I don't even know.
Oh my god.
Although I was in Compton, and funnily enough, if you Google Compton, it actually shows you a map of the Bloods and the Crips, so you know exactly where you are at any which time, so you can switch your outfit if need be. Anyways, we're not talking about that right now. It really is. It was good for us to know.
Oh my god.
Anyways, all right. So we'll save Ontario to the end, right? Yeah. Because we're going to talk about places we have been to.
Yeah.
So I did the East Coast, and I'll start with New Brunswick. So I had quite a few to choose from, but I ended up choosing the Dorchester County Jail Bed and Breakfast. So this place was built in 1875. It was a federal prison from 1875 to 1880, and then it became a provincial jail until 1998. So fairly recently.
That's kind of cool.
I say that. I still feel like the 90s was
1998 was,
Exactly. So in 1936, there was a double hanging of the Bannister brothers. I'm not really sure what they did, but they were bad guys. And they are buried in the backyard of this property. There's actually 27 bodies allegedly that are buried in this property. It is now, like I said, a bed and breakfast, so you can go and stay there. Plus, they do daily tours as well. There's a lot of original fixtures, so the jail cell bars are still there. The death row area is still kept very similar to how it was. So even if you just want to go on like the day tour because you're afraid to stay overnight, there's still a lot to go see. So the ghostly goings on, there is a lot of like shadow figure action that happens. There's a lot of eerie feelings and dread, especially the lady who owns it calls it the dark side, which was where death row was. And when they would hang the people, they would then drag the bodies past all the other inmates on death row, so they got to see them. So I can imagine how oppressive it is in that area. Lots of things moving as well. So your typical kind of hauntings that happen. I didn't get a lot from people who had stayed there to say what had happened individually, but it sounds like it's a pretty active place. And it looks really cool too.
Now I want to go stay there.
I know. I'm telling you, we're going to be doing
you had me at former prison.
That as soon as I saw it was county jail, I'm like, and then when it was like former prison, I'm like, yes, this is the one I want. It's a great little place. And I love that they keep a lot of the original fixtures to it because then you've got that sense of it as well. So you're like, this is where they were. And you know, bodies buried, whatever. That's great. Just some backyard. Since there, that's perfect. I'm not entirely sure if that's been confirmed or not. Or maybe it's kind of like a Hinsdale where they're like, yeah, there's bodies there, but we're not going any further because then you got to dig them up and then it becomes like a whole police thing. Although we know why they died and how. But anyways, great place. That's the Dorchester County Jail Bed and Breakfast in New Brunswick. Moving on. Newfoundland and Labrador. Okay, so this place is called the Glenmill Inn. This was built, it's a massive building. It was built in 1927 as the staff house to house all the staff that worked at the pulp and paper mill. That was the Armstrong Wentworth or Whitworth Paper Mill Company. And then in 1924, it actually became a hotel. I think it basically was just such a massive building, they needed to do some other stuff with it. So it became this beautiful hotel. It has 78 rooms. It also has 5 meeting rooms ranging from 1,200 to 5,000 square feet just for these meeting rooms. It's quite,
I was gonna
it's a massive place.
It's bigger than my house.
Yes. In 1994, renovations were done because they really needed to modernize this place. So the exterior still has the old look to it, but inside has newer additions to it. So you're not as bad. There was a massive fire in 1929. It's really unknown if anyone actually died in it. There doesn't seem to be a lot of reports on it. But there are reports of a little girl who's often seen running up and down the hallways. No one really knows who she is, but there is a picture that hangs on the wall in like the main area. And so people have kind of speculated maybe that's her, but who knows? There's also a man who is occasionally seen lingering outside one of the main halls. And occasionally he talks to people and asks them for a cigarette. And when they kind of go to give him one, he's gone. So we don't know if he was one of the old workers there, maybe, or not.
Yeah.
Anyways, and there is a woman who periodically appears in bedrooms, often when it's a solo man. And she's usually like, well, hello. They think that she's looking for a lost love. Who knows? And again, there's no real reports on who these people might have been or why they would have been in there. But it was definitely a lot of people going through there. And it's a huge, wait till you see this. Massive, massive. All right. Then we move on to Prince Edward Island. I say this because I'm not Canadian. And although I've done my provinces, anyways, somebody's like PEI. We'll just say that. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, PEI.
PEI. All right, I picked I think my thing auto-corrected. It's the Fairholme Boutique Inns. This is also a massive property. This is now considered a National Historic Building. There's actually 4 big preserved buildings that make up the property. Built in 1838 by Thomas Haviland, who then sold it in 1855, and it went through a bunch of different hands until finally Benjamin Rogers purchased it, and they were the owners until 1999. So they had it for about 120 years. It has been now converted into a 7-room inn, and the other buildings have kind of been acquired and are one is still, I think, a privately owned inn, but the others, they're all on the same property.
Yeah.
And they're stunning. Like they have that old country vibe to them. Very nice.
I'm going to have to cut you off for a few seconds because my dog has decided now is the time to she got to go pee.
Okay.
But you can keep talking about this. Keep talking, tell everybody while I let my dog out.
Okay. Stay with me, everybody. Here we go. So there is the ghost of a young girl that is often seen in the building. They believe that maybe she is one of the Rogers family descendants, but again, there's nothing confirmed there. There's been quite a few reports of a piano playing, especially at night, on and off, and yet there is no piano actually in the building. There's a bit of a story of a lady that used to play the piano way back in the day, and so they're wondering if she returns, her spirit returns to play the piano, but ultimately there is no piano in the house to actually physically be played. There has also been lots of reports that windows break randomly, and they had such an issue with these windows breaking that some of them have actually been boarded up. Again, nothing is confirmed, but there are some boarded up windows there. And also a kitchen cabinet used to empty its contents all over the place randomly as well. Things also moving around the hotel on their own, people saying they've lost things only for them to reappear later on. So I really hope you guys go and look on our social media at the pictures, because this place is very beautiful too. And now let me bring you to Quebec. And we'll just say that this is like the Stanley Hotel of Quebec, because I chose the Fairmont Le Chateau Frontenac because I don't know if you've ever seen this place.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, built 1892 to 1893. This is a massive 700,000 square foot building. It has an additional 44,000 square foot meeting space. It's 18 floors with over 600 guest rooms. So that's not even including the meeting rooms and rooms you can rent for business and stuff. This is like the most iconic place, I think, in Quebec. It's huge. And it's also part of the Fairmont chain. So there's Fairmonts all around the world, and they're equally as stunning.
And haunted.
Yes, there's quite a lot. I think we stayed in the Fairmont when we were in Miami.
Yeah, and there's the Fairmont Royal York in Toronto, which is haunted.
I don't know. I don't know why they are. Maybe it's just comes with those. I don't know. It's in the contract. So the reports are of a weeping woman who is often seen wandering the halls in a nightgown. Governor Louis du Bouade, I don't know, Bouade. I believe the hotel was actually named after him. He is a 17th century governor, and he died in the building while his wife was overseas, and she couldn't get back in time to see him before he died. And so he instructed, if he died before her getting there, that his heart would be removed and sent in a box to her. And that's what happened. And so he sent his heart to her when she was still in Europe, and she was like, I don't want this. So she returned it. Okay. And so it is said that his spirit now haunts the place looking for, they don't know if his lost love or his heart. Either or. What the F? Like, what a thing to do. Yeah. Here's my heart. Oh, thanks. Where's your money? That's what I would be saying. Anyways, that's what happened. And so, yes, he's often seen actually on the second floor peeking out of the window. And he has a very ominous feeling to him, and it's quite sad. I'm not sure what happened to his heart. So return to sender, I don't know. And then imagine getting that mail, and you'd be like, ooh, because it's not like it went express post. It's not Amazon Prime. It didn't come the next day.
Like,
was it, I don't know what it would have been.
Wrapped in like newspaper? Like, how would you?
I don't know. And if this is like 17th century, I don't know. It would have taken like months to get there by sea.
It's thrown on the
boat.
No
wonder she opened it and was like, what the fuck? Like, thanks a lot, dude. Glad you're dead, bro. God. Yeah.
Oh my God. That is the weirdest story I've ever heard.
Right? Like, she couldn't get there, so send her my heart. Okay.
It's like that just proof I'm dead. Like,
exactly. Or here it is, bitch. Thanks for not being here.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So now he's just wandering around. I don't know. Weirdo. And again, I guess because it's such a prestigious place, you have to really like hunt to find these ghost things. So those would seem to be the major two, is the woman walking around crying, probably because she's like, I just opened the mail and there was a credit card in there. And then this dude, he's not a dude. I guess he was the governor.
The governor.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And then I accidentally forgot Nova Scotia, so we'll just post that one a little later.
Make you do your own
for that one
5-minute podcast about Nova Scotia.
Exactly.
But there's lots of stuff out there.
Well, I did look up.
I'm sure maybe some of our listeners could let us know which haunted inn or hotel or B&B that there's out there that
absolutely.
Yeah, in Nova Scotia.
And like actual stories, not just like, oh, it's haunted. And when you look it up, they're like, just kidding. Because that seems to be the case. Good Lord.
So I took the West Coast, like we were saying earlier. So in British Columbia, I found the Harbor House Hotel. So it is in the heart of Salt Spring Island. It's I don't know how I found these ones. Like, really, like the ones that I looked up are all like massive. Like, it's just like, holy shit. So it says in the early 1900s, newlyweds Fred Crofton and Nona Wilson bought Jack Scoville's 100-acre seafront farm at the head of the Ganges Harbor. I hope I'm saying that right. They set about raising livestock, fruit, vegetables, and their quickly growing family of D's. Yes, D's. Dermot, Desmond, Diana, Doreen, Denise, Donovan, and Dulcie. Or Dulce.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah. When Fred went off to fight in the First World War, Nona began taking in overnight travelers and eventually renovated the farmhouse into a 12-bedroom guest house, named it after Fred's Irish country home, and opened the doors of the Harbor House Hotel. Guests came by land and sea to sample the Croftons' rustic yet elegant hospitality, and there eventually came to be a saltwater swimming pool, twin tennis courts, picnics, fishing trips, scavenger hunts, and high tea served on the vine-covered veranda.
Ooh.
So it says after the Croftons sold the hotel and regular ferry service in the mid-1950s brought meat and produce from afar, the farm fell into disuse. Much of the land was sold off and developed, donated, or given to the Croftons' children. The last 17 acres remained behind the hotel and grew up with alders, blackberries, wild rose, broom, and thistles. So it was like an active farm. So some of this paranormal activity. So it says it's home to the ghost of one of the hotel owners that came after, Walter Herzog, who was murdered there in 1973. So in 1973, Walter was shot to death in his suite in the hotel. He had 5 bullets to the chest and the stomach. No one heard the shots. So so the door to his suite had been burned and a gas can was found outside. So this is how they believe the suspect gained entry into his room. Okay. In the room, there were signs of a struggle. It was reported that a sum of money was missing, which they believe was the reason why this happened. So robbery was considered the motive. And a man by the name of Norman Stevens, who was 23, was charged with capital murder. And poor Walter left behind a wife, 2 sons, and 2 daughters.
Damn.
Yeah. So they say the corner of the bar area was once the suite where the murder did occur. So guests have reported strange activity like lights going on and off and eerie sounds in the middle of the night. They've got some poltergeist activity going on. Electrical appliances are problematic. They've heard moaning and whispering in the bar area and room 206, which is right above that area in the bar.
Okay, makes sense.
They've had disembodied voices, the sounds of dragging and sweeping. And the phone in room 206 would continually call the front desk, even though the room was empty.
Ooh.
It happened so much. Yeah, it happened so much that they had to disconnect the phone. After a while, when they thought, you know what, maybe we should reconnect this phone so, you know, people staying in this room could have a phone to call the front desk, it wouldn't reconnect. So they couldn't reconnect the phone. And then there's also sounds of marbles rolling across the floor, which kind of sounds like what my mom said.
Or more like the bullets that were riddling the guy.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah, the casings.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's in BC. Like, yeah.
Well, now I'm annoyed because when I was in BC, mind you, I don't know that I actually looked up haunted places, but I would have loved to have stayed there.
Oh, you should.
Damn it.
We need to do like a Canadian road trip and just stay at every single one of these places and just go through.
Yeah, absolutely. We need someone to sponsor that. We're looking for sponsors.
Oh my God.
Absolutely.
There's only 2 of us. We're cheap. Listen, we're great.
Okay, rephrase that. We're not cheap.
No.
We just travel on a budget.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh my gosh. So next on this road trip back to Ontario, we hit up Alberta. And of course, what's in Alberta? The Banff Springs Hotel.
Of course.
So the Banff Springs Hotel was built in 1888 and was originally a wooden structure. No surprise. It was created out of a necessity when the Canadian Pacific Railway, so CPR, stretched westward, and a high-class hotel was needed for people traveling along the route. So the vice president of Canadian Pacific, William Van Horn, saw the hotel as a stop-off point and a world-class travel destination. So with its breathtaking mountain scenery and natural hot springs, it had a lot to be proud of. A major fire in 1926 completely devastated the building, and a complete reconstruction was carried out. So it says the new construction was loosely based on a Scottish castle with towers and stone walls. So the Banff Springs enjoyed an upsurge in popularity in the 1930s when celebrities and royalty began flocking to the hotel, and it quickly became known as the Castle of the Rockies.
Oh,
So it has 768 guest rooms overlooking Alberta's mountaintops. And then it
wow.
gives, it has a whole bunch of different activities. So at this hotel, there's supposedly 3 different ghosts.
Okay.
3. So they say. So first we have the bride. This is the oldest ghost story spanning to the 1920s. There's numerous versions of how the bride died, but they all circulate around the stairs. Now, some of these are like she's pushed. Some of them is her dress caught fire and she fell down the stairs trying to put it out. Either way, she's going down the stairs somehow. So, so one of the stories that I found was a young lady due to be wed and in the hotel was descending a staircase. So the spiral staircase by the Cascade Ballroom, which is the one. And she was going down to the ballroom for her first dance with her husband. As she descended the stairs, her dress caught fire, and in a mad dash to put it out, she fell down the stairs, breaking her neck, dying instantly. So somehow she makes it down these stairs.
Damn. What are you catching fire? Oh, I suppose everything was like lit by lanterns and fires and whatever else.
Yeah.
Or cigarette, who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Maybe she didn't catch on fire. I don't know. They say guests can see guests have said they see a ghostly bride dancing in the ballroom and crying. So that's who they see. Now the second ghost is the bellman, who they believe is a gentleman by the name of Sam McCauley or McAuley. He was a bellman of the hotel who passed away in the 1970s. It is said that he is still doing his job. There have been reports of him appearing in the spa suites, so which would be rooms 1052 to 1054, and guests see him at the foot of their beds.
Oh.
Not sure why a bellman would be in a bedroom, considering he just was at the door, but I don't know.
I don't know. I don't want to jump to conclusion.
And then we have the next ghost story is the family of room 873. Now this one is hit or miss depending on who you talk to. Some people say it doesn't exist. Some people do say it exists. Some people have reports of saying this exists, but so room 873 has been permanently closed off accordingly. So a family, which included a husband, wife, and a young daughter, were staying in this room. The man was reported to have murdered his wife and daughter before killing himself in the room. So guests who have apparently stayed in the room in the past have reported being awakened by screaming, and other guests have reported bloody handprints on the mirror.
Yeah. But you can't stay in this room anymore.
So
is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I have no idea. Some people are like, oh, that story's made up. And then some people are like, oh, this is what we've experienced. I don't know. Just one of those ones. So, and now we're going to go to Saskatchewan. Were you here earlier this year?
Yeah. Good luck with that one.
Which is really funny because when I typed in Saskatchewan, a whole bunch popped up. And I was like, the hell?
Did you get the Screaming House? Did you see the Screaming House?
No.
I'm pretty sure we actually drove by it. And I didn't know what it was. It's just an abandoned house, like kind of out on the moor almost. I don't even know the history of it per se, but apparently it's really haunted. And so I said to Mark, we need to stop there on the way back. But on the way back, we didn't go the same way. And because our flight, like we didn't have enough time to detour, we couldn't go.
Yeah.
But we did stuff with that creepy church. So
that's another podcast.
Exactly.
So in Saskatchewan, I found the Delta Best Borough. So yeah. So the Delta Hotel's Best Borough, or formerly and commonly known as the Best Borough or the Bez, and the Paris of the Prairies.
Oh, okay.
Is a historic hotel. It's in Saskatchewan. Oh my God. Saskatoon. Saskatchewan. It's in the commercial district, and it opened in 1935. It's a chateau-esque style building. It's 192 feet tall. It contains 10 floors, and the building is considered one of Canada's grand railway hotels. What a surprise, another railway hotel. So after its completion, the building was the tallest building in Saskatchewan until the nearby Marquis Tower was completed in 1966. So this is another one, the hotel, where you look at it and you're like, holy shit. So this one has a bunch of ghosts. So they have a ghost known to the employees to roam the presence. So employees actually know about this ghost. They say he's an older man in a gray suit with a fedora on his head. So he's classy. He's snazzy. He walks late in the evenings on the banquet level, and he usually smiles at those who encounter him, and then he just goes about his business. So he's just, hanging out in the afterlife, looking snazzy.
Chilling with his fedora on.
They also say there's a large crack in one of the solid marble floors. So legend has it that an employee was sent to one of the rooms one night to quiet a group of people that were having a party and causing a disturbance. So when the employee tried to quiet them down, he was overpowered by two men who lifted him over the railing and dropped somewhere between 7 and 9 stories to his death. And then they believe this is where the crack came from in the floor. They just don't know. So there's something about that crack, that area, that that's where this legend has come from.
How interesting.
Yeah. So on the 3rd floor of this hotel, there apparently is a woman who looks rather small and tired. Her hair is a mess and her clothes are torn in many places. If you're quiet and you stay out of her way, she doesn't acknowledge you. And if you make too much noise or try to communicate, she apparently will run up and scream at you and then disappear.
Yikes. Okay. Jeez.
Yeah. So don't try to talk to the little old disheveled lady on the 3rd floor.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then they say in the stairwell, there's a group of children that are said to play there. People have said that these children were killed and or died at the hotel. And guests have heard their laughter, but they have never seen them. Which is pretty creepy. I think that's creepy out of everything.
Disembodied children's laughter or talking is spooky.
It is. It's creepy as all.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going to head to Manitoba. And now we are at the Fort Garry Hotel. So the Fort Garry Hotel was built in 1913, surprise, surprise, by the Grand Trunk Pacific Railway.
They also were part of this one building I was looking at, but I didn't mention that.
It's
they got
crazy.
Their hands and everything.
Yeah, well, they still do. The hotel was initially planned to be called the Selkirk. However, it was decided that it should be named after Upper Fort Garry, which once stood at the junction of the Red and Assiniboine. I can never even say this word correctly. Rivers. All right. So the hotel was a real draw from the beginning and played host to many famous guests, including Queen Elizabeth, King George. Oh my God, King George, Lawrence Oliver, Louis Armstrong, and Liberace.
Oh,
I know. It is now a National Historic Landmark. So it's been up for 100. Oh, what does it say here? It has provided guests with luxury and relaxation since it opened its doors over 100 years ago. Oh, I bet it does. So room 202 seems to be where everything is going down. Again, legend has it that a newlywed couple stayed at the hotel in the 1920s. It's the start of every ghost story.
Wink, wink. Exactly.
So the husband went out to get his wife some headache pills, but was killed by a horse-drawn cart or other form of transportation. Oh my God. Yes,
it's their wedding night, and she's like, "I got a headache."
You went out and got ran over by a pony. God. Oh my gosh! So apparently she was so distraught. It's a good ghost story. Whoever came up with this one. Apparently she was so distraught that she hung herself in the closet of room 202. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Talk about a headache now.
Yeah.
Her ghost is now said to wait in the room for her beloved. So people have heard footsteps walking around the bed. They've heard wet, watery steps coming from the bathroom, which would creep me out, if anything, because and then the sound of wire hangers scraping around inside the closet. They've also heard disembodied sobbing. And the light in the closet will turn on by itself as well as the TV. Now, previous hotel cleaning staff who have gone into the room after guests have reported seeing blood dripping down the walls.
Okay.
Yeah. Guests have also seen the apparition of a woman in a cloak hovering at the foot of the bed. And this same apparition is also said to haunt the lounge area and is often seen crying in the corner.
All right.
Yes. Now, this room also has a second ghost.
Oh my Lord.
I know.
Double ghosts.
I know. In the same room. So this is called, this lady is in a ball gown. They've referred to her as Lady Macmillan, who actually stayed, this Lady Macmillan actually stayed in room 202 on December 10th, 1913 for the hotel's grand opening. So she's dressed, the people have seen her dressed in a white lace brocaded gown. She's dressed to the nines. She should meet the guy in Saskatchewan with a fedora.
Oh, yeah. They're kind of next door. They could
Oh,
go
yeah.
see each other. Fancy.
They could travel. They could take the ghost train.
There you go.
See? I'm
Beautiful.
on to something. Now, there's other ghosts and spirits throughout the hotel. There's an apparition of a man that is also seen at the foot of beds. A young woman dressed in a robe in the hallways. There's been reports of a man sitting at a table in the dining room long after it's been locked up. And an owner of the hotel who used to live in the building woke up one night to see her husband enter the room and sit on the bed. When she rolled over to speak to him, there was no one there.
Yikes.
So, yeah. So that's my out west.
Nice. It's really interesting. To be honest, I thought you were going to be like, there's a barn that we could stay in. Like,
there's a flat piece of land out there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But those are good.
I know, but the pictures, like these pictures of these places are like, holy shit.
Yep.
They're crazy, like these hotels. So definitely someplace to stay. And the funny thing is they're all like luxury hotels now. Like they're like 5-star. Like you're not sleeping in someone's garage. So
right. You're not sleeping in the barn.
No. So now we have Ontario. So I don't have my notes on me because I know some of this stuff anyways, but so in Ontario, there's so many places, so many that we could just list off. So one of the places that I recently stayed at is the Beck House in Penetanguishene, which is actually an Airbnb. So it's kind of like a bed and breakfast, but there really is no breakfast. You can make it yourself.
Oh.
Or you can get it brought to you by Tim Hortons and skip the dishes. But so that building, I believe, was built late 1800s. It's massive. It was a family home for Carl or Charles. His actual name was Charles, but I think he went by Carl. Beck and his family. And he lived there with his family. He was a big lumber magnate. He owned lots of businesses, all that kind of stuff. Very prominent person in Penetanguishene. So he lived there with his family. Unfortunately, his wife did get sick. And she did pass away. Now, there's so many different stories about how she got sick and all that, and what happened. But after talking to Brenda, who now owns the place, rents it out, she's amazing. We were talking to her about the history when we were there. And where you stay on the 3rd floor, there is a huge, massive window. And it is the biggest window in the entire house. It's never been changed. And they said that they brought Mrs. Beck up there because she needed the sun, she needed the air, which kind of leads me to the whole, she probably had tuberculosis. Because if you think about, places in the States like Waverly Hills and all that, is those tuberculosis hospitals, what did they need? They need large windows, fresh air, all that kind of stuff, right? Unfortunately, she did die up there. And then once she died, their oldest daughter, Mary, kind of took over raising all the younger kids until she found her own husband and moved and had her own family. Now, her father was not happy about that. Apparently, he didn't like this man that she was marrying because he figured she could do a heck of a lot better. And that caused some contention. So in the end, when he passed away, and his death was a freak accident, He died at his place of work. He was in his 80s. He used to every morning ride his horse and cart around like the lumber yard. And it was the thing that he did. And when he didn't come back one morning, they kind of got a little worried. And then his horse and his cart came back, but he didn't. And they found him in the water, like right on the shore, because that's where, well, lumber and water, right? They found him in the water. I guess he fell off his cart or horse or God knows what and ended up face down in the water. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, it's weird.
Had he hit a man who had gone out to get his wife headache pills on their honeymoon?
Oh my God. But yeah, no, but when he died, because he was so angry at his daughter, Mary, he left her $1 in his will, and the rest of it went to his other kids. So yeah. So
damn.
I know. So they do say that Mary is still at the house because she's pissed that she didn't get more out of the inheritance. But then some people think he's still there, and some people think that his wife is still there. So there's lots of things that go on. Noises, footsteps, people seeing things, cold breezes. The one bedroom's got 3 mirrors that face each other, so you literally are sleeping in a portal.
Yeah, that's really strange.
No thanks. But definitely like the top floor. So there's 2 apartments that you can rent. Apartment 302 is like the most haunted because it's got the biggest window. But apartment 301, which is also you can rent on Airbnb, is also got activity. So it's very interesting. A very interesting place. So that's the Beck House. And it's a good nice drive. It's pretty up there too.
I bet.
And the cemetery is like a block and a half away from the house. So yeah, you could go and see his big old mausoleum. He had money.
Wow.
Yeah, he had a lot of money.
Nice.
Yeah. And then the next one I'll talk about is the Prince of Wales, which is in Niagara-on-the-Lake. It is another like boutique-y style hotel. And is it room 206? I can't even remember. It's 20 something. But anyways, that's the most haunted room supposedly. That's the room Allison got to stay in on her birthday. Surprisingly, just we didn't know. It was really funny. But I don't have that. Oh, I should have grabbed that stuff, that history, because the Prince of Wales has got a really, really interesting background. So where it's built, so Niagara-on-the-Lake's got a lot of War of 1812 and all that kind of history. So the American soldiers did come. Yeah, they did come over, and it was one of the locations that they really pillaged. So there was a house built apparently in that area. And during that war, you know, the Americans came over and they were told to, you know, do what they needed to do. And all the men had gone off to fight. And this young girl named Mary was apparently in her house, and she was watching out the window, waiting for, you know, the love of her life to come back. And the American soldiers were marching up the street, and they saw a silhouette in the window. So, of course, they come marching into the house, and she thought she could hide behind a curtain. And they noticed that the curtain, I guess, was moving, or they saw the silhouette, and they bayoneted her right through the curtain.
My Lord.
Yeah, thinking she was a man. So when she fell to the floor and they realized she was a woman, they were like, oh, shit.
Nothing to see here, as they back out the door.
So, and her name was apparently Mary. And yeah, so she ended up being killed by some American soldiers. Now that whole area afterwards, they just burned everything down. The Americans just burned all of the buildings, everything. Men, women, children, mostly women and children, literally ran out into the bush. And we're talking, this is like January. So it's cold, it's snowy, it's freezing. They have nothing. Pretty much most of them died out in the bush.
Oof.
Yeah, it was that bad. Now, eventually, you know, the town built itself back up, and the Prince of Wales Hotel came to be. And it was, I believe, a house at first that they would take people in, and then it just kind of built from there. And it's this beautiful, beautiful place. But yeah, so room 206 or 207, it's one of those, but it's said to be where the original house used to be. So Mary McGuire, that's what her name was, Mary McGuire. She likes to keep anybody in that room company, which was Allison.
Oh, that's too funny. So what was Allison's experiences?
She felt someone in the room with her the whole night. I think she slept with the bathroom light on, because there's stories and reports was that like you could see Mary like coming down the hall and going like to the bathroom area. So she felt like that was something that was happening all night long. She felt Mary that was in the room with her. She didn't want to sleep with her back, and I think it was towards the window, because she felt that if she was to turn over, she would see somebody standing there. So it was kind of interesting.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I think Ryan and Liz stayed in that room a few weeks later.
And?
I have no idea. Ryan was probably up all night, because that's just,
I'm shocked he would stay there, because especially knowing that that's the most haunted room.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. He's something else, that way. I don't know what his experiences were, but like I said, I was surprised he even slept there, considering he don't sleep nowhere. It's me who sleeps.
This is true. Well, we'll see next weekend.
Oh no, I'll sleep. Give me a warm blanket. I'm good. I'll be done.
Yeah, that's true. I hope this place has electricity and heating.
Oh yeah, I should probably dig out my air mattress just in case.
Yeah, I think I'll do that. Yes. All right. I'll get a sleeping bag.
Bring some
Not
stuff.
that I slept last time, but whatever.
Oh my gosh. Which one's from Ontario?
I am going to talk about the Windermere House in the beautiful Muskokas. Because I had been told about this place by a friend of mine. She is a radio DJ host, and she got to go stay there, and she actually messaged me while she was there. She's like, I'm terrified. And I was like, what? So naturally, I'm like, where are you? Tell me, give me the directions. And thus, I found the Windermere House, which is located on Lake Russo. It's stunning. The drive up there, beautiful. And then when you actually get into the little town where it's located, it's amazing. It's just this cute little, like almost like a little hamlet. And when you drive down, at first you don't even realize that you're getting to where you're getting to until you turn into the driveway and you see this huge mansion kind of looking place. It kind of, remember on Dirty Dancing where they pull up to like the chateau that they stay in? That's exactly what it is. And I think it's kind of, well, it wouldn't have been that era. It's earlier than that era, but it looks very similar to that. So the land was acquired by Thomas Aiken, who is a Scottish immigrant. And in 1870, the Victorian-style boarding house was built, and it overlooks the beautiful Lake Russo. And the whole purpose was Thomas just wanted to help the local like people who were just kind of in and out of the town to come and stay for a good price. And then he slowly started building up, because I don't remember what date it was, but the expansion of the railroad, and then of course steamboats, were bringing more and more people to that place. And because it was a really awesome property where they are, because they're literally right on the lake, it became like a very sought after place. And so it very quickly became this beautiful, I want to say mansion, but it's so much more than that. And he started building more and more things on it. Let me get my notes here. So in 1883, he added the addition, including the flagstone tower that is very iconic to the building. And in 1887, it basically transformed into what it is now and became a very luxurious place for people to go. There is like a beautiful veranda that you can walk around. They had croquet. They have beautiful like places that you can walk down. And then, of course, they had Lake Russo, which was also right there for people to go and sun in if they liked it. In 1900, they extended the front wing, and then they also built a second tower. So now there are these two big, beautiful towers on either end. And although it kind of looks, I don't want to say like it doesn't look like a castle, but it also doesn't have that ominous presence. Like, you know how, say, like the Stanley Hotel, it has, I don't know if it's just because we know it's being filmed there, but it doesn't have that eerie look to it. It has this beautiful look to it. So in 1919, Thomas passes away, and then his son, Leslie, and daughter Gertrude take over, and they're basically their owners, and then their children own it up until it is bought out, I believe, in the late 1990s. In 1996, it was during a filming of The Long Kiss Goodnight, a massive fire happened and burnt down pretty much the entire place except for the flagstone veranda, which was pretty much the only thing left. And so a massive rebuild happened, and it only took them a year. So in 1997, in the summer, they reopened, and it is as you see it today, and it's phenomenal. It really is. So there are 3 stories to it, but there's not a ton of rooms, and each room, it has its like an old school lock and key. You know how usually you get one of those cards now, like when they handed us the key, we were almost
the
like,
ones that never work.
This thing. Yeah, we're like, what? But it was this beautiful room that we're staying in, and we had this, oh, sorry, something just went weird on my computer, and I'm like, hello, what's going on? I know. I thought it was shutting me down for a second, and I'm like, I'm plugged in.
You're not allowed to talk about it just yet.
I know. I wouldn't be surprised. So it has 3 stories, and the rooms are pretty small, but they're, you know, beautiful to the sides. There are no king size beds, I don't believe, which was a little. We were gonna have like a 6'4" boy. He's like, my feet are hanging off the end. Actually, they weren't though. But we had this really beautiful balcony that we got to look out on the grounds, and they have a lot of grounds, and on their property is this old church, which doesn't actually belong to them, but you can still wander around. And then 200 acres were severed in like the early 1900s and became the golf club. So yeah, so that's there as well. Now, most of the haunting is said to be Thomas himself because he loved the place so much. Many people have seen him cruising around. They have also seen children who they believe were descendants of Thomas. When I went, so we stayed on the 2nd floor, and I did ask at the front desk, I'm like, can we get the most haunted house? And the person, or room, and the girl's like, why? But they were so booked out because they have 2 big banquet rooms. And because it's such a beautiful place, it's booked a lot for weddings and I think graduations and things like that. So we were lucky to get the room that we got. But little did I know, it was haunted. So we were sitting talking, and I think Mark had put his change, including like a $20 bill, on the counter, like where the TV is. And we were sitting, and all of a sudden it flew across and kind of landed at the end of the bed. And I was like, what on earth? Mark's like, is the door open? I'm like, nope, nothing's open. So naturally, I'm like, it's a ghost. He's like, it's not a ghost. So then he put the $20 bill back on the counter, but he put it between 2 glasses. And within 5 minutes, it came off the counter and flew again onto the floor. And there's no way, even if there was a breeze, it wouldn't be able to come out from where it was.
Yeah.
We're tapping in the bathroom, like as if someone's tapping on the wall, but it sounded like it was from our side, not from the other side. And then we heard a lot of chatter and noise in the hallway most of the night. But there, when we would look, because we were going to be like, shit, there was no one in the hallway. So naturally, in the morning, I went down to the front desk and I'm like, so my name is Kaz from the Paranormal Seekers, blah, blah, blah. And the woman was like, wow, we actually just had a paranormal group in here and it was so active. I bet they would have someone else came in. So I ended up speaking to the general manager. And now I'm in touch with, I don't know her official title. Her name's Morgan. She's amazing. And we are, I think she's the events coordinator.
Mhm.
And we're going to potentially be investigating there soon because she's like, oh my gosh, we have so many stories to tell you. She's like, some staff won't even go up to the third floor. They've had times that they have guests go into a room and call down and they're like, our room's filthy. No one's changed it. The beds are all messy. And so they're like, oh, so sorry. And they call housekeeping and housekeeping's like, no one's been staying there. We cleaned it 2 days ago and left it. And lo and behold, it's all messy. And same thing, they have reports of people running up and down the hallways when there's no one staying there, and things like that. So
Mhm.
I'm very excited to actually get in there with
Me
equipment.
too. Me too.
Is. And they
And
also have cottages that are on the property, but just kind of down the street, which
Mhm.
belong to, I believe, Thomas's brother. And there's also supposedly stuff that happens there as well. So it's like additional stuff. And it
and
it
yeah.
literally is like this beautiful little oasis. When we were sitting, they have this pub in the lower level, and we were
Mhm.
sitting out on the patio, and this deer just wanders by, wanders along the property, and we're all like, where are we?
It's kind of like the
So
coyote I
beautiful.
saw today wandering down the end of my street with dinner in his mouth.
Oh, delicious. Not
It was a
quite as
squirrel.
nice as the majestic deer standing there, but
I just do the
the
majestic.
Oshawa version.
Listen, the deer in Oshawa are not majestic. They will jump through your fucking windows. They don't give a shit.
Yeah, because they've been nibbling on the stuff downtown Oshawa. That's why. So they're all cracked out on meth.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, so like the Windermere there, like when you were telling me about it, like back when you were staying there, it dawned on me that for a lot of us who are from Ontario, especially in the Durham region, we used to go to a place called Cullen Gardens in Miniature Village. And I'm 100% sure that they had a miniature of Windermere and it was like around their pond. And I'm pretty sure if I go back through my pictures on my like file, like on my my CD-ROMs, I
Oh
will
Lord.
find it. But yeah,
I don't doubt it.
and
It's an
another thing about that
icon
too,
for sure.
yeah, is like when we started planning to do the investigation and everything, and I started looking into and doing some research on the Windermere. So Thomas's brother-in-law is actually
Mhm.
connected to another place that we've investigated. Like
Yeah.
100%, like there is a direct connection. So it's kind of cool to see how all of that kind of like molds into one.
Yeah,
I think it's absolutely
absolutely.
hilarious, but that's just, like we say, the dead get what the dead want. And apparently,
Mhm.
yeah,
They want us.
apparently all the time,
Yes.
everywhere. Oh my
So yeah,
god.
I can't wait to go back and just stay at the Windermere because it's so beautiful. And
Mhm.
oh my gosh, the breakfast in the morning. Yes. I would go back just for that. It was so good. So good. But it's a stunning place. And don't forget, I mean, you can go any time of the year, I would think, because it would be beautiful just because of the landscape. But in the summer, they have a pool.
Mhm.
They also have, I don't want to say a hot tub because now I don't remember. Maybe they have a hot tub, but they also have saunas. And they're those beautiful, like big barrel ones. So you sit in this beautiful sauna overlooking the lake. Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Wait.
And then just to go and walk, like we went for this long hike around. It's just beautiful. And to stare
Mhm.
out at the lake, it's
Mhm.
great.
That lake also has a lot of dark history too.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
It's a huge lake as well. Yeah.
Crazy.
So that's it.
Yeah. Sweet. So, but there are lots of other places in Ontario, like we've investigated, so you can even like take a look as well. If you go on our website, you can see our stories and stuff. But like you've
Most
got
recently, the Dominion
the
Hotel.
Dominion Hotel in Minden. Tiny, tiny, tiny little hotel. It's got what? 6 rooms? Yeah, I think 6 rooms.
Yep.
6 rooms? Yeah. Each room has its own story and
Absolutely.
stuff. So definitely just one of those little, like, you're just looking for like a place to escape that's really close to home. The Dominion Hotel in Minden, Ontario. Definitely I would say, yeah, go there. And then you've got like the Bala Bay Inn is haunted. You've got Inn at the Falls. So the Bala Bay Inn, obviously in Bala. Inn at the Falls in Bracebridge. You've got the Grafton Inn in Grafton. I don't know if it's still open, but that still might be an option. There was the Burley
Coburg Jail.
Yeah, the Coburg Jail, which is there was a place in Burley Falls. When we investigated at the time, it was called the Burley Falls or Burley Island Inn or something. I can't remember. I don't know if it's still in operation. I do know that they changed owners and all of that, and they didn't know if they wanted to be known as haunted, but they took a leap. I don't know. So that still might exist. I don't know. Where else is there? There's like a whole bunch of like bed and breakfast in Kingston. You could stay there. There's lots of places.
Yeah.
So many places.
Well, I guess anyone listening or watching, let us know where you've been, where you've stayed, and your experiences.
Yeah. Now I want to go stay at that jail.
I know. Road trip out east.
Yeah. Crazy. So
yeah. Wait till you see the pictures of them.
I know. I'm looking forward to seeing the pictures of yours. Even if I have to look for them myself, I'm going to find them.
I have the link. I'll send them all to you.
Perfect. Well, I guess that's it for haunted hotels. Spooky places to sleep.
Creepy Canada.
Yeah. I also looked for like the Yukon and Northwest Territories, but they didn't give me nothing.
No.
Absolutely.
I could imagine.
But yeah, so I guess that's us for tonight. So yeah. So if
we either may or may not see you the following week.
Yeah. We're still debating. So this might be the last podcast until December 9th. Because we will be away next Sunday. And we may or may not. So when this airs, we're going to be so we might try to do a live on location type one, maybe. Who knows? We're going to figure it out, but if not, we will be back on December 9th with The Place That Shall Not Be Named. And Leanne
my gosh,
join us for that one. So yeah, that will be fun. So we're going to really jump into this location without giving too much away.
I know that's the thing that gets me. All the stuff we collected there, evidence-wise, and it's like
I know, but we can talk about it. We can talk about it. We just really can't share any defining location, features, people. So we got to change some names, or just refer to them as one name. I don't know. But yeah, so that's going to be a very interesting topic.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, so if anybody has any questions, comments, suggestions, wants to share a story, you can send us an email at paranormalpodcast@gmail.com. That's PAREHNORMAL podcast@gmail.com. And yeah, follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram. You can check out our Dumb Faces of Podcast on TikTok.
Perfect.
Yeah, because like I say, if you can't make fun of yourself, someone else will. So yeah, but yeah, follow us, give us a like, share. Like us a lot on like Spotify and Amazon, get us up there so we can share more with everybody. But yeah, that's gonna be it. And I'm gonna get ready because it's gonna be my birthday. I need to spend it with you weirdos.
I know.
And it's on a Saturday this year, so whoop, whoop.
Perfect. I can't wait. So we'll either see you.
I was gonna say
I won't see you again.
Thrilled. You sound so thrilled. Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait for your birthday.
Fuck.
No, it's because you were saying something and then it zoned in and out, and I was trying to piece together what you had said, and then I like, okay, this response would be great.
Making my own language. Thanks, technology.
Well, thanks everyone for listening.
Yeah, and if we don't talk to you next week, December 9th, we'll be back.
Yay!
Okay, great.
Bye.